So you all know how in America we have a huge illegal migrant crisis that is going on. You have a lot of people who are coming here illegally. And I was so curious. You see the Democrats who constantly are like, yes, we need them, we need them. Then you see stuff that Greg Abbott is doing. He said, no, push them away, push them away. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Okay, I don't know. I did a little bit of looking. I think I have a reason as to why this is all going on. We will be getting into it, but before we do so, do not forget to leave a comment down below. Also like, subscribe, and hit the thanks as well. Now let's get into it. So I've kind of figured out this is why the Democrats want the illegal migrants in America. Low American birth rates. 2, we got low military retention rates. 3, Americans want a higher pay. We don't want $7.50, $7.25 an hour, okay? Migrants will work for less. 4, Democrats want them votes. They want them votes, okay? As soon as you legalize them quicker, next round of voting, boom, 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 we're going to have some shoe-in votes, okay? Again, we got one of losing the black vote. And we got some other videos that's going to supplement all this. All right. So what all is being done? All right. They're giving these illegal immigrants opportunities, housing, food, shelter, jobs, free entry into the country. No passport needed, even though we got Americans who need that stuff too. Okay. So right now, what I'm actually going to do is play you the Chuck Schumer video, and we are going to get back. All right, so this is actually a very important clip, and this pretty much sums up why they are allowing all of these illegal immigrants to come, and there's a huge influx of them, okay? So as the title says right here, it says Chuck Schumer wants citizenship for all illegal immigrants. Let's get into this video. It's very short, it's only 27 seconds.
Now more than ever, we're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level.
So as you see, he said we're short of workers. Okay, what does that mean? People are not trying to work, not like how they were before. Okay, and then you see that he kind of insinuates or displays a little bit of a baby bump. Okay, because women are not getting pregnant like that. Okay. What he does not then say throughout this video, obviously only 27 seconds, but what he does not then say is why this is happening, okay? Why are women in particular, because we're the ones who have to give birth, why are we the ones saying, I don't know if I want to have a child or children at all? Housing is through the roof, especially in New York. Housing is through the roof. So much money you got some people for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment. 2-bedroom may cost you $3,000. If you're only making $3,000 or $2,800 a month, you ain't got enough money. Okay. So you have housing that is through the roof. You have low wages. In a lot of these places, I think federal minimum wage is, $7.50 an hour right now. And you have a lot of places where maybe they're not paying $7.50. Tip workers only get paid like $4, if that, an hour. Then you have other places that simply are not paying you enough money. Okay, you have these millionaires and billionaires who are having record profits at these organizations, these businesses that they own. Yet you got their employees getting paid $15 an hour, living in California. $15 an hour, where your average, let's say apartment complex price is $1,200 to $1,500 for a 1-bedroom. Well, how are you going to be able to afford that on a $15 minimum wage? And then you got taxes and all this other stuff that's going on. You got high taxes for people who don't even make that much money. Meanwhile, you got lower taxes for people who are making more than $100,000 a year. How does that make any sense? So we're having to put in a lot of money with tolls, just extra, expenditures, your grocery shopping and stuff, which the prices have yet to come down in a significant way. You have your toll roads, and they're adding more. I heard that in Manhattan, I believe, if you drive your car there, they're going to be charging you like $21 a day because they want you to do public transportation. But if you work in that area, what are you supposed to do? Pay at least $42 a day? Oh, you don't even think about going back out. That's ridiculous. You have no universal health care in America. So if you don't have a job that provides health care, why would you then, logically, it doesn't make sense to have a kid, because then you won't be able to pay for your health care because our health care is tied to our employer here. Meanwhile, you can have a baby and only pay like maybe $5 in a different country, So that's the thing. People are paying a whole bunch of money, and you better hope your baby ain't sick. Then you have everything else that goes along with it. So you're saying, oh, well, people don't want to have kids, and it's like, well, why don't they want to have kids? And what security is there? You have a whole bunch of gun violence that's going on, a whole bunch of violence just in general, mass shootings. Where's the protection for people who want to participate and have children? There's a whole bunch of different reasons why people don't want to do it. You have dismantled the institutionalization. You have dismantled mental health facilities. Everything costs a whole bunch of money just to do. Are you going to help with these costs? Oh, no, but we need y'all to have babies, not because we care about your way of living or anything like that, but we need workers in the future. Boy, bye.
That it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them.
There you go. Embrace every immigrant, legal or not, who come into this country. That's why they're okay. And then when they bring them here, Greg Abbott said, I'm not dealing with that up in Texas, so I'm going to go ahead and deport them or arrest them. Supreme Court and Joe Biden said you can't do that. And he's like, well, they can't stay here. New York, Chicago in specific. Oh, you see, we're a sanctuary. Say, okay, here, I'll put them on a bus. You have them. And then now you see that they're being pushed into these black communities, these poor communities, taking resources away from people. People are wanting community centers built, like a field house kind of thing for their students, for children to be in, have other kinds of things that we can have so we could help the youth not be tainted and want to go in the negative direction of guns and drugs and shooting and stuff like that. Have more education, because as we have our system, one income is not enough to live a comfortable life. It's not enough to have one income. You have to have two. So if both parents are working, then you got daycare. How much is that? Is the state paying for that? No, of course not. For most people anyways. They're not paying for that. So you're going to have to be paying a whole bunch of money for daycare because you need two incomes. And then if the father's not around, which is what we've seen a lot of, if the father's not around, then it's only one person. And what are they going to do? And then you wonder why people don't have enough time for their kids. So you have a lot of people saying, you know what? I just don't want to do it. I don't get paid enough. We don't get any benefits. There's no UBI. There's no universal health care. There's no minimum wage of really $25 an hour. And then everyone else's wages should be adjusted. The grocery prices have not gone down. Gas is still expensive. You got some places they're paying $4 or $5 for a gallon of gas. What? For me, I think I was at $2.80. And the week prior, I was at $2.60. So I was like, what? I was talking to my grandma. She was like, yeah, it's like $4.20. I'm like, wow. So people aren't just not having kids just because that's the cool thing to do. You have people who are like, what's the point? I'm already living in poverty, myself included. I'm already poor. Okay. Why would I then go and be like, okay, I need to go and bring a child in this world so they could go and struggle and I could continue to struggle? You don't care about these people. All you care about are workers.
Our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
There you go. help them, and then get a path to citizenship. That is why. I remember it wasn't in this video, but I remember they were saying like, oh, I think it was actually him in particular, or Dick Durbin of Illinois was actually saying, oh, well, what we're going to do is, they didn't want to serve for their home country in terms of military. They didn't want to serve for them, but they really desperately want to serve for America. If you have no loyalty to your own country, whatever. But he's like, oh, well, they didn't want to serve, but they want to serve here. And then, if we see that in given time, everything's good and, they're honorable, then you know what? They'll get citizenship. What? You're just going to give citizenship just to someone who was not loyal to their own country, and now they're fighting your war just so that they could go and get citizenship here? And you're going to just allow that? That's all someone needs to do? Wow. Now, I actually want to show you all a chart. So this is from October 23rd. Okay, so this is a foreign-born person share, which is the highest in history. So there are fluctuations in the data, but since President Biden's election, the foreign-born population has grown spectacularly in the millions. Okay, so as you guys can see, you have the two different presidencies. Okay, so in the green, you have Donald Trump there, and you see the numbers, how they were kind of medium, then they went down, they went up a little bit, and then they went back down. Okay, then you have when Biden wins, and you finish off the presidency term until we got to the next person, and then you go and see how it spiked up. And I don't know why I said it like that, but it spiked up. Okay, but yeah, you see how low it was, then you see how high it gets. Biden's in there. You see the significance in the two terms. So we have a map here, and it's just showing the change in birth rates from 2007 to 2022. Got California and Nevada. As you can see, the darker the shade of blue, that is essentially how dramatic it has been from 2007 to 2022. Look at it. All right. South Dakota, they're not too bad. Okay, but you see in California wasn't looking too hot over there. We got Massachusetts, we got Florida, not too bad, but it's getting there. Texas, I was actually surprised, but I thought Texas would have been a lot bluer. Okay, I thought it would have been a little darker over there, but surprisingly enough, it was not. Then we actually have a chart here about the U.S. birth rates, okay, and how they've gone down. So the next point that I was talking about earlier was the low military retention rates. Okay, so I got an article here. Americans do not want to fight for their country any longer. Okay, a poll by the Research Institute Echelon Insights of 1,029 likely voters conducted between October 23rd through the 26th found that 72% of those asked would not be willing to volunteer to serve in the armed forces were America to enter a major conflict, compared with 21% who said, yeah, I would. So that right there just shows Americans they're not looking. And these are people who, we're not talking about 80-year-olds. We're talking about people who are obviously able to do something, able to fight. They ain't trying to do it. Okay. The remainder were unsure. The poll was conducted after attacks with Hamas and Israel. All right. So I was curious, why do people not want to serve? What could be the reason? Military recruitment is down. Why don't young Americans want to join? So these were some of the reasonings as to why. And they said that the youth's age, really people age 16 to 21 are the respondents, and obviously it's not going to reach to 100% because people could pick multiple reasons as to why they do not want to do this. 70% said the possibility of physical injury / death. I don't want to deal with that, and America does not have universal health care. Okay, and yes, the VA has some stuff, but okay. 65% said possibility of PTSD or other emotional or psychological issues. People don't want to have those long-term issues. 58% leaving family and friends. 46% other career interests. I just don't care about this. I got other things I want to do. 40% dislike of military lifestyle. And mind you, before I continue, there's a lot of people who did join the military because they were like, oh, I could get free education. I could get this. I could get this. So they were willing to risk their life for things that would benefit them in the future. Okay. So they were not just like, oh, I just want to serve my country. A lot of people weren't doing that. A lot of people were doing it because they want the benefits that will come from that. Let's continue. 36% too long of a commitment. 35% possibility of interference with college education. 35% required to live in places I don't want to live in. You gonna station me where? Nope. 33% don't believe I would qualify for whatever the reasons would be. 33% possibility of sexual harassment or assault. We know that goes on down there as well. All right. I actually want to show another figure. This is again with the foreign-born population, but this is with Obama, Trump, and then Biden. And as you see, it's just increasing. Even though it goes down a little bit, boom, 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 it is still increasing. Next point in that is Americans, we simply want higher pay. Okay, you got migrants who here, they would be like, I'm cool with working for $5. Average annual household food expenditure in the U.S. from 2000 to 2022. So this right here is just showing how much you're paying. As you see, it keeps going up. So if the wages are not going up, but food is going up, toll tags are going up, gas is going up, taxes on your house are going up, you have everything that's going up, and then you're going to look at me and be like, well, what y'all need? Come on, $15 is too much. What? $15 ain't enough. Look, you got food that's going up. What? Come on. Another one. This is looking at the 12-month inflation, December 2019 through the 2023. As you see, it has peaked and then it went down, but it's trying to get back up. But people still have not recovered. And let's keep it real. Grocery store prices, y'all. Okay? Expensive. Truly expensive. And they have yet to go down. You got gas in certain parts of the country have yet to go down. All right. I just want to show you all. This is the cost of living index. Okay. And they show you, by state, which one's the more expensive one and all that kind of stuff. You have New York, Alaska, that's up here. You could just see how much this stuff is costing just to live. And then you say, well, $7, I mean, ooh, that's too much. I mean, I got a migrant over here that work for $5 an hour. Y'all, we can't be working for $5 an hour, okay? We can't work for $5 an hour, y'all. Okay, you can't do that. I want to show you the state and major locality minimum wage updates for 2023. That purple that you see at the bottom says minimum wage corresponds to federal rate. Y'all, are you kidding me? You got Washington over here, $15.70. Come on. Do I even need to finish reading this? California, $15.50 minimum wage? Okay, our houses. Can I get a nice 2-bedroom house in California for $200,000? No. It would probably cost you about $700, but your minimum wage is $15. This is showing if it's with the Texas, for example, minimum wage corresponds to federal rate. That's like $750. Y'all. And then you wonder why people are like, yo, we gotta. And this is not necessarily company-wise, it's just statewide, okay? But that's part of it, y'all. This is part of it. Now we're going to look at a little bit in regards to the black folks. Democrats, they like to just throw people, these migrants, into your community. and not give you any assistance and be like, well, I don't know what you mad about though. I mean, come on, y'all fine, right? Come on, you're fine, y'all. Let's get into it.
These South and West Side homeowners are angry. They believe the city has overextended itself and should be putting the tens of millions of dollars earmarked for migrants into Chicago's most vulnerable neighborhoods.
But the South Side has been under-resourced, underfunded for years, for decades. We have schools that need to be reopened. We have buildings that are abandoned that need to be business operated.
This goes and shows, though, that they care more about foreigners than they do their own citizens. Because if you actually cared about your citizens, one, Johnson, Brandon Johnson, Mayor Brandon Johnson, he would have been like, ooh, I mean, we got a lot of funding coming in. Our own citizens aren't good. I get we're a sanctuary state, but I'm sorry, Abbott. I can't say I could take them. Maybe I could take 1,000, but that's about it because my own community is suffering over here. I mean, we got schools closing down. We got violence. We need community programs. We need to start working with other people. I'm sorry, we can't help you. New York, I can't do it. But that's not what we have here.
Era program that was dedicated to reversing decades of disinvestment on Chicago's South and West Sides, promising to align more than $2.2 billion through public and private funding.
We are taxpayers, we're property owners. Our money should go towards fixing our communities.
The city has received more than 15,000 migrants since August 2022.
We have no more room. Y'all are embarrassing Chicago as a whole.
According to analysis by the ABC7 data team.
Yes. There is no space. There's no space. That's why you have migrants. There was a video that was going around about, it was a police precinct, and it was the officer. He's like, yo, look at this. It was like 100 people, migrants, illegals, who were all just laying down on the ground. Just all laying down, sleeping. He couldn't even walk. He's like, what the heck is this? Why is this allowed here? Why are you allowing it here? If there's these Chicago migrant shelters, why aren't y'all over there? Go downtown and go deal with that. Why are you bringing it into an impoverished neighborhood? Other than you simply don't care about the residents, but you want that black vote. Ooh, you need that black vote. Keep voting Democrat. Ooh, vote blue no matter who. But then at the end of the day, you go and look at it. What is that getting you? Think about it. What is that really getting you? And I don't want to hear, oh, but Trump, he ain't got anything to do with this. This is nothing but Democrats. What has that been getting you? Nothing.
There are more than 20 active migrant shelters across the city, 7 located on the South and West Sides.
Whether it's one shelter or whether it's 10 shelters, we're saying the facilities that are there for us, the money needs to be put into those facilities for us. Mayor Johnson, the black aldermen, the black alderwomen in this city, you will stand for the black citizens of Chicago.
So right now what we're going to be looking at are the Chicago residents have protested the city's plans to house migrants at vacant high school. So there's going to be a different amount of people saying some things, and I'm going to have my commentary as we go.
So today I stand before you because members of the Black Community Collaborative, South Shore constituents, and stakeholders are extremely dismayed by the city of Chicago's inability to control and develop safe parameters around housing migrants that have been transported here from the border. Our specific frustration lies in the continuous and blatant disregard for the safety and overall quality of life of Black residents, as many of these migrants have been dumped in our neighborhoods without a plan in place to monitor and house them long term.
All right. So right here, this is actually a pretty good point because as we see that this is happening in Chicago, obviously, but it also is happening in New York and some of these other places where you have these sanctuary cities, and they're just putting them into not just anyone's backyard. Like you're not going to see your millionaires or your people who are making 100 grand a year. You're not going to see those kind of people having to deal with this because they're not affecting you. They're putting it into people who are, the black communities, the more poor communities, because they just look at you as like, pretty much whatever. I could do whatever I want. But let's continue.
They have intentionally created barriers to impede participation in a decision-making process around the public school buildings we pay taxes to maintain, and that they unjustly close, and ignoring the community's plea to keep them open. Communication regarding meetings that have been held have been lackluster. We found out about the first meeting in South Shore via the mayor's Facebook page and by word of mouth through text messages and just people, because our community is this. We talk to each other. We are informed and we talk to each other, bottom line. This engagement tactic is very poor, and it ultimately leaves working class and our elder constituents, because this area has a lot of elder constituents who are not on social media. That's not fair to them, but that was intentional, we believe. Additionally, they made capacity limits for the meeting. By the second day we found out about the meeting, it was stated that the meeting was full. So people were complaining that they didn't have access to a meeting. What kind of Jim Crow stuff is this?
Yes, that's also a really good point as well. Essentially what they're doing is they're keeping you ignorant on the concerns of the community by having these migrants here and whatnot. So they figured, okay, the less people that know, the less people that will come. So we won't have that many issues that are arising. So yeah, I mean, this is the way, this is what we got to do, and at the end of the day, it's like, this is, as she says, deliberate. They know what they're doing. Come on. These people didn't just get into these positions by chance. They know exactly what it is that they're doing, and they simply don't care. I want to have the least amount of resistance. Well, how do I do that? Let's just not inform people that we're going to be doing this. Let's just do that. All right.
All black holders, all black stakeholders that have concerns should have been afforded the adequate space and notice and decision which ultimately impacts the value of our land, safety, and peace. We have been redlined, Jim Crow, pushed out enough. During the meeting, the city again attempted to limit our ability to let our voices be heard. City officials stated that they would not allow us to speak and only to read answers that the panel chose to read. We wasn't having it.
No, that's right.
So when you saw on the media people upset, we were upset because we were gaslit before we even started the meeting.
Right.
Specifically, the chief of the Office of New America's Nubia was extremely disrespectful to our community's culture and standards. She had a lack of respect for us in the meeting openly. And it wasn't just South Shore. It was reported she did this in Woodlawn as well. They turned off mics of people who was concerned and speaking their voice.
Because they don't care. They want your black vote. But then at the end of the day, they simply do not care. Give me your vote. Give me your vote. All y'all vote Democrat. Give me your vote. Yes, I'll get rid of, the student loans. I'll make the minimum wage $40. Y'all give me your vote. Okay, here's our vote. All right, everything I said I was going to do, I'm just not going to do because I don't care about y'all. I'm going to make sure that y'all have difficulties getting to voting stations. I'm going to make sure y'all have difficulties getting into these meetings and not informing you of anything, keeping you guys ignorant, but keep giving me your vote. That's the problem that we have. And I'm not necessarily blaming these people, but what I am blaming is once you know better, you do better. All right. So once you know that this is going on, do not keep bringing these people in. Yes, Lori Lightfoot sucked, but Brandon Johnson, I thought at first, and I don't even live over here, okay? But I thought at first, I was like, okay, he'll do what's right. And then it's like, nah, he hasn't been doing it. I remember he first got into office. He was in office for like a month. And then people were like, he sucks. Da, da. And I'm like, y'all, give the man, let him breathe. Come on. He just got in the water. Just let him put his toe in there and do a little. And then after a while, I was like, nah, man, this dude, he's just the same. You know what I mean? Maybe not as blunt with it, but it's the same thing. They don't care. They're going to keep making it so that it is going to be difficult for you all to do what it is that needs to be done, for you all to participate in the proper manner, because they simply don't care.
Black Chicagoans have been living in a state of crisis for years and have yet to receive quality city services and resources we need and deserve to stop the crisis. While we have empathy for the humanitarian crisis, our priority is the humanitarian crisis that we have suffered from for generations, and we do not have the capacity to bear this burden of migrants that are facing today. Here's why.
I.e., we got to start worrying about the black people in our own black community. We cannot start having other people, we got issues too, let's just lump them in with the black people, and then black people's issues go down further on the list. No, we got to start worrying about ourselves and caring about ourselves, because we're the only people that care. Everyone else does not, because if they did, you wouldn't have the issues that we have right now.
Currently, 73% of homeless citizens in Chicago are African American. As we speak, there are black youth couch surfing and riding the trains.
Meanwhile, the homeless and veterans are also getting bypassed for everything. Meanwhile, you have the migrants who are coming in. They get to sleep in the police station on the floor, and there was a police officer, he was recording this. It was over 100 people. He's like, yo, what the heck is this? Why is this even happening? Why is this allowed to happen? In some of these airports, they're allowing them to sleep, obviously not the part where you got to actually like check in, but like in the entrance area, some of these migrants were sleeping there. I'm like, what? Why is it that you all are getting assistance? And we're going to get into it. But why is it that you all are getting assistance? Meanwhile, you have people who actually are residents here. You have people who are actually citizens here. And what do they get in return? Nothing. They get nothing. Meanwhile, you're just able to reap the benefits.
Currently, South Shore has the highest eviction rates in the city of Chicago, with black families being put out of their houses in alarming rates. 77% of homes that are foreclosed due to taxes is African Americans in Cook County. Currently, 78% of homicide shootings victims are black people. Rest in peace to the officer that just died. Rest in peace to Jaya, my son's classmate, Hadia Pendleton, and all of the innocent black children who have died in the streets of Chicago, and the city have yet to stop it. 90% of schools that were closed without our input, without our feedback, although we showed up like we showed out over there in South Shore, they ignored us. Was closed in our community. 90% of those schools. Between 5 and 12% of students in the South Shore neighborhood elementary school read proficiently. These data points is why we're upset. This is not about the migrants. This is about the entire city of Chicago ignoring our community. And this school belongs to us. Why? Because we fought for this school. We fought for it. We paid for it. And the alderman said she would give it to us. We allowed her to have the police academy here. Most of us didn't want it, but some of us did, and we let it go. But this time we can't let this go. We cannot keep letting go the fact that these are our communities. We're standing strong to make it a good community.
And this is the point that I was getting to earlier that I mentioned, where you have a long list, a bucket list of different things that black people need assistance with. As she mentioned, you have low test scores going on and a whole bunch of other stuff, people getting evicted. America, you buy a house and you still got to pay taxes on it. Meanwhile, in other countries, developed, of course, many of them, once you buy the house, you're done. There's no property taxes or anything. And you have people who they can't afford that kind of stuff. As she said, this is a large elderly community. So you have a whole list of different things that need to be addressed. Meanwhile, they're like, and when I say them, I mean the city, the governors, all that, mayors. They're all just like, yeah, but I mean, we got migrants and we got other people who got issues too. So, I mean, let's just put them in the top, 10 or 15, and then we'll start at your list 16 once their issues are addressed. And it's like, you can't just keep putting things off. Think about it. When you're like, okay, I'll clean the bathtub. I'll clean it. And then you're like, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm so busy. I'll do it next week. And then 2 months go by and it ain't nothing but, black crap crusted on that freaking bathtub. You know what I mean? After a while, you can't just keep putting things to the side. You have to address it. Oh, but I got issues too. Not my problem. We don't care about that. We're caring about our own community. I don't care about whatever else you got going on right now, because you don't care about what I got going on right now.
And we expect the city, the state, and everyone to provide us humanitarian aid. That's right. We expect the city to work with us in an effort of creating an Office of Black Americans to address these issues. That's right. We need representation. So right now, I'm going to actually introduce you so you can learn further about our lawsuit. We had to do this. We were forced to do this. It's enough for us talking. It's enough of that. Yeah. We can't continue to let our elected officials lie to us. So I would like to introduce to you Frank, our attorney. I didn't want to butcher his last name. Avila. Frank Avila.
Thank you very much. My name is Frank Avila. A as in Apple, V as in Victory, ILA. Yes, fine. And I'm here today as the lawyer for our plaintiffs, and many more are coming. We have Natasha Dunn, Mr. Jones, and we have South Shore Neighbors. And everybody here wants to be a plaintiff. Now, I want to start by saying this is not anti-immigrant. This is not anti-migrant. This is not anti-refugee. It is not. It is not. However, it appears that besides downtown...
Now, what I would add, I get where they're coming from and the route that they're going to be going. But for me personally, I feel like this, we don't have enough resources. Alex, how do you know that? Greg Abbott said, we're not going to be having these migrants here. We're going to have to arrest them and deport them. Biden said you cannot do that. Supreme Court added that, and we ain't doing that either. Okay, so you had them being like, okay, you can't arrest them, blah blah, let them come in. Then you had these sanctuary cities, New York, for example, Chicago, and there's some other ones, but these are the two big ones. You had them saying, well, you know what? You see, y'all are against migrants coming in. You see, y'all the problem. You see, we're America, opportunity. I will take them. And Abbott's like, well, okay, I'll get them on a bus today, and then we'll ship them to you. And there's over 1 million that have come. There's so many that have come. Like, it's a ridiculous amount. And now they don't know what to do. Because they were talking all that mess. Oh, yeah, we're for migrants. And I don't know how that helps out the Black community. And that's where you're dumping a lot of these people. You're taking away resources of people in that community. People are paying taxes. Y'all nickel and diming these people left and right. High rates, parking. You got, not so good education that's going on, underfunded and all this. And then you're going to set a homeless issue, mental health issue, substance abuse issue. None of that matters to y'all. It's, we got to get the migrants in. We got to get the migrants and help them out. I already know their agenda, So I get where they're coming from saying that this isn't that. But I feel like, yes, it is. Because at the end of the day, these people are not coming here the legal way. It's one thing if you're coming here the legal way, and then let's keep it real. You ain't going to just be dumped out because you're coming here the legal way, and you will have all your papers and all your documents, etc. Okay, unless you plan on just moving here legally. Let's say you're coming from Australia, you're coming here and you plan on sleeping on the side of the road. That doesn't make any sense. But these people, they don't care because they know. Well, America, they're going to give us assistance. They know. That's why you guys are getting bussed from Texas all the way up north or in the Midwest. That's why you all are getting food and some shelter options, etc. Meanwhile, you got the homeless people who can't get that. You got residents in the area who are getting evicted out of their home and they're having to face homelessness. Meanwhile, you're giving these people shelter. So for me, yes, it is a huge illegal immigration issue that we are having. And no, the immigrants are not only Mexicans that are coming or Venezuelans. You got Hispanics, you have white people, and you have Asian people, and a very small amount of black folks that are coming too. Okay, from their different respective countries that they're coming from. So yes, for me, it is an immigration issue that is being seen. Because you guys are having resources in New York. They're even taking it a step further where they're defecating and urinating in cups and leaving it on people's doorsteps. Where do they do that at? But let's continue.
The second most biggest locations where they're putting refugees, migrants, immigrants is into African American areas.
Yeah. Trying to force us up. Trying to force us up.
And that has to be.
But there was someone that said 2 to 3 times that said they're trying to force us out. They're trying to force us out. They're trying to force us out. That's what they're planning on doing. That's what they did in California too. And black folks were just taking. Oh, well, let's go along, get along, take. And then they took you out of your neighborhood. We've seen it in all these other areas where maybe it wasn't necessarily migrants, but they'll be gentrified. So yes, this is their plan. Let's just make it for it. You guys are already miserable, whatever. Let's make you more miserable. And I don't care what the consequences are. I don't care about anything else. Let's keep it moving.
Where it has to be put down in a more allocated area across the city and not just in African American areas. I personally am for DACA. I'm for comprehensive immigration reform, and I think we should treat everybody humanely and allow asylum seekers to come in. But it has to be done in a fair manner, where they're not being...
In a fair manner, which does not mean we're going to go and close out your schools, have you do virtual learning, so we can now house migrants. Alex, who's doing that? That has happened recently in New York. We're not going to allow them to just be able to take shelter in any other building that there is. We're not going to allow them to just go into this high school. Meanwhile, your kid's going to have to, foot the bill because of their presence, their illegal presence here. So, as you all have seen, it's a whole hot mess. Okay, people are not satisfied with it. Now, you have some people who say, well, I just don't. I have nothing against y'all, but for me, I'm like, nah, you gotta come here legally. If I gotta go to your country legally, it's the same way. That's how it has to be. Okay. Also, we simply don't have resources. But to sum everything up, okay, this is what I figured. I was like, this is the only thing that makes any sense. Because we have a lot of these Democrats, and they're like, oh, we need the migrants. Bring them. And Greg Abbott's like, whoa. They're not crossing my border. Oh, no. They can't cross my border. That won't be happening. I'm going to go put those little buoy things with the little razors and some little barbed wire and all this other stuff over there. No, and then if you come, we're going to arrest you. Biden and the Supreme Court said, oh, no, you can't do that. It's open border. Now, who is coming through? That's the main question. Are these doctors? Lawyers? Dentists, engineers, chemists, architects. From my understanding, these people have little to no skill. Now, you may be able to do some mechanic work here and there, or, know how to clean up a house or something. But I haven't seen any of these stories that I've been looking at where people are saying doctors, lawyers, and architects and engineers are coming over. None of those. Now you would say, okay, Alex, well, it's people who got a hard life. So you are a skillless person. Well, how come we can't just pay more for these jobs that we have in America, have Americans work them, since these are like low skilled kind of jobs. You know what I mean? Like cleaning a bathroom or something like that, being a maid or something like that, possibly, you know, being a dishwasher, being a cook or something like that. You know what I mean? Why couldn't we just up those? Because they don't want that to happen. Okay. So overall, and that's what hopefully I was able to convey this message as best as I could. But you look at it, low birth rates. Okay. You even said it. Oh, they're not having babies. I mean, but these people are. Okay. So there was a video by Dick Durbin of Illinois. I could not find it. Well, I found it, but for some reason it wasn't letting me record it. I don't know what was going on. They were saying, oh, you're blocking it. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. But in that video, he was essentially talking about how, okay, well, we'll have these people, they'll come in and, you know, they will go and serve, and then, you know, we get them citizenship, and then boom, 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 boom. It's all for votes at the end of the day. That's what all this stuff is for. This has nothing to do with I actually care about the American people or anything like that. This is only I need my votes. Y'all ain't having babies. Okay, American women, you're not having babies. I don't care. I don't care about your reasons. You can't afford it. No health care. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Okay. You're not having babies, and we need babies. We need babies because we need workers. I don't care what happens after the baby's born, but we need workers. Okay. Also, why you have the anti-abortion stuff going on. Low military retention as well. Okay. People, I'm not into it. But these people are into it. Okay. Americans, we want a higher wage. We're not trying to work for crumbs anymore. I mean, but these people would do it. Okay. Democrats, they need these able-bodied people to go and serve. And then they said that if you do it well enough, we can get you some citizenships around here. Come on. You got the black vote, and we know how powerful the black vote is. You got the black vote. Because, you know, typically we will all vote the same way. No, you're over here doing all this other stuff. You got a whole bunch of people that's like, I'm voting red, y'all, because y'all doing too much over here. You're losing that as well. You know, so that's just how I feel about all this. Let me know what you all think about this story or these little data points that were provided. Do you think that maybe I missed something? What is your overall perception of the migrant issue in America?